Greetings, my name is James Curtis Geist. I've been a history teacher for 20 plus years. I've been writing since 2016, and I love my coffee, and I love my Dr. Squatch Cologne. If you enjoy the stories that I share, please hit like and subscribe. Thank you. Today's story is coming from Stories of the Polter, Heilige Zeitgeist. And today's story is called, How Was School Today? Monday. Mom says, did you hear what happened at school today? The father says, what happened at school today? The son says, I was late to science class. It was my third late, so I had to sit in detention after school today. The mother says, no, there was a school shooting today. The father says, what? Were you shot, son? The son says, no. The father says, so why were you late to class? Tuesday. The mother says, did you hear what happened at school today? The father says, no, what happened? The son says, I had to go to the nurse's office. I sprained my ankle in gym class. The mother says, no, there was another school shooting. The father says, were you shot, son? The son says, no. The father says, so how did you sprain your ankle? Wednesday. The mother says, did you hear what happened at school today? The father says, what happened? The son says, I got a D on my history test today. The mother says, no, there was another school shooting. The father says, were you hit, son? The son says, no. And the father says, well, at least you didn't fail your test. Thursday. The mother says, did you hear what happened at school today? The father says, a school shooting? The son says, no. In my home economics class, Billy threw a pencil at me and it stuck in my temple. The mother says, no. Someone set off a bomb in the locker room at school today. The father says, son, were you hit with any shrapnel? The son says, no. The father says, well, at least the pencil didn't poke you in the eye. Friday. Mother, did you hear what happened at school today? The father says, Johnny was suspended. The son says, no. The mother says, Johnny was nicked by a ricocheted bullet today. The father says, did the nurse clean the nick with rubbing alcohol and put a Band-Aid on it? The son says, yes. The father says, well, I'm just glad you weren't suspended. So, God bless you, all humans and ETs. All my books are on Amazon, and thank you so much for listening.